this conference to declare this call for action. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. It's time to say goodbye very soon, but it's been a very, very exciting 4 days. I'm sure it has been enriching and gratifying for each one of you, as it has been for me. And I'm sure we have renewed energy to connect and to act right from now, to say no to violence, to act against any form of violence, and to speak out and not remain silent. I hope that is the message that has given to you. As you know, it's a very difficult task to come up with a call for action or a declaration. We have tried our best to incorporate all the concerns, the voices that has been raised during these 4 days. So I would like to read that out to you, a more shorter version of it, leaving out the background context, but more on our concerns and attentions and demands. May I read it out? And I want you to applaud it, endorse it, own it, and take this as a tool for strengthened advocacy and accountability. Thank you. We, the participants of the Third World Conference of Women's Shelters, held in The Hague, the Netherlands, from the 3rd to the 6th of November 2015, attended by over 1,000 advocates and activists representing 115 countries, call upon governments, UN agencies, international organizations, the private sector, and the civil society to take urgent and effective action to prevent and end violence against women and girls and children. We draw focused attention to the rights and needs of women and girls facing multiple forms of discrimination, including women of Aboriginal and Indigenous backgrounds, women with immigrant and/or refugee status, undocumented women, survivors of trafficking, women living in poverty, women with disabilities, LGBTQIA+ women, women of ethnic minorities, and women enduring the trauma and violence of armed conflict and in post-disaster situations. In every case, the inclusion of women's voices is imperative in efforts to prevent or mitigate such violence. We call upon all states and conflicting parties to include women in all conflict resolution and peace processes, as well as in the planning and formulation of all post-disaster relief, recovery, and reconstruction programs. We express our concern about the growing use of the internet as a tool to perpetrate violence against women and girls. We urge governments and industries to protect the millions of women and girls who are the targets of online violence. As members of the Global Network of Women's Shelters and participants of the Third World Conference of Women's Shelters, we bear witness to the imperative global work of shelters in mitigating and preventing violence, women's violence, and the critical work of shelters, not only in providing safety to women and children, but also in the overall prevention of violence against women and girls. The 2015 data count of the Global Network of Women's Shelters, in which 2,497 shelters and agencies in 46 countries took part, states that on one day, 53,230 women and 34,794 children sought and acquired shelter services. However, 7,337 women and 4,410 children were turned away due to limited resources and capacity. This validates the need for increased resources and capacity for existing shelters, as well as the need for more shelters. Therefore, we call upon all key stakeholders to considerably strengthen efforts to prevent violence and to effectively protect women and girls. Particularly, we demand that states and all other relevant stakeholders sign, ratify, and effectively implement relevant conventions and agendas, including the Convention on Ending All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW, and its optional protocol, the Beijing Platform for Action, the International Convention on Population and Development, ICPD, and its program of action, all other relevant documents and regional policies and instruments, provide adequate funding for women's shelters, including by considerably increasing the capacity of women's shelters, redirect military spending towards funding for social and economic development, including shelter spaces, to save women and children fleeing violence as outlined in BPFA, implement a standalone Convention on Violence Against Women, which is internationally binding, and hold perpetrators to account and to provide services to assist perpetrators to transform their behavior and become peer educators. Can I request you all to endorse this call for action as the call for action for the Third World Conference of Women's Shelters? Thank you so much. During the process, we also had regional networks consulting with each other, and they have come up with burning issues. So they are going to be called upon here to share their urgent, most burning issue from the region in 50 words, right? Okay. May I hand over to you?
No, I'll take you down the stairs, and Aldit goes before, because she's going
I'll
to...
hold you.
She has a little job to do.
Thank you.
Watch your step.
Thank you.
I don't know how you women do this with the sari thing, but you look fabulous as usual.
Maar zij moet toch de dingen overhandigen?
Yes, a bandana.
Bandana. There's still work to do.
Yes,
Okay.
there is. Yes. What we're going to do now is call those 7 representatives, ladies and gentlemen, of the different continents, starting with Rosa Logar, who represents Europe. Where is Rosa? Please stand next to Jacobine. Margarita Guille of the Inter-American Network. Come forward, please. Mary Balikunjeri, representing Africa. Come here with us, please. Hui Jung Chi, representing Asia.
The idea.
Julie Oberon, representing Oceania. Fatima Utaleb, Middle East and Northern Africa. And last but certainly not least, Carole Brazeau, representing the indigenous women. Stand by me. Jacobine, you have the handhelds. No, you don't. Let me just get some handhelds, because as Bandana was saying, we expect every of these representatives to... We gave them 50 words, and we're counting. We're counting. So let me start with Carole Brazeau, right here. I'm going to stand behind you and hold the microphone for you. There you go. Please deliver your...
Bonjour à tous. Hello all. It's my pleasure to announce yesterday the first international meeting of Indigenous Women's Shelters Network was held with representatives from the continent of North America and New Zealand. We, as well, we decided to join the global network of women's shelters. The main burning issues of the representatives of Indigenous women's shelters are the call for an international strategy to prevent the murder and missing Indigenous women and children worldwide. We demand that the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples be applied in our countries. And of course, we will require financial support for our international meetings to connect and act to end violence against Indigenous women and children worldwide.
Thank you very much, Carole. Yes, Jacobine.
Yes, now Europe, what are your burning issues?
In Europe, our burning issues are having states ratify and implement the Istanbul Convention, Members of the regional workshop also stressed the importance of implementing CEDAW, particularly Article 6, stopping all forms of trafficking and the exploitation of prostitution of women. We must increase the number of women's shelters and specialized women's services, ensuring sustainable funding for these programs.
Up next is Fatima Outaleb. I'll hold the microphone for you. That's good. You just do your statement. Your burning issues.
Okay, out of the box. Actually, I don't know if these 50 words are enough to share the concerns of the burning region I'm representing, MENA region. So, the MENA region finds its burning issues to be highlighting the impact of violence on women as individuals and recognizing female victims of harmful cultural practices, as well as ensuring women's rights to privacy are not violated in the name of security measures, and finally, legislating for the legal status of shelters in the MENA region.
Thank you very much, Fatima.
Okay, I join you in the middle. The burning issues for the Inter-American Network.
Yeah, there were that most of our shelters and services need to work with women and girls during and after armed conflict in the specific areas where armed conflicts are, and create special international measures for violence against women in organized crime, international organized crime territories, strengthen international cooperation, and to ensure sustainable funding for women's support services and shelters.
Thank you.
Up next is Julie Oberon, representing Oceania.
Thanks. The burning issues from Oceania are ensuring proper resourcing to redress violence against women that is exempt from political cycles, providing consistent criminal justice responses that hold perpetrators to account and enable opportunities for change, and making governments accountable for transformative change, which focuses on gender, social, political and economic inequalities and Indigenous rights.
Thank you very much, Julie.
Mary Balikunkeri, representing Africa, this time the whole continent again. Yeah, it's quite a burden. Please, your burning issues.
Yeah, thank you. Our burning issues as Africa are enacting and implementing policies and legislation to support shelters and safe spaces for women and girls, and most importantly, also strengthening political will to allocate funds for survivors of violence, guaranteeing service provision and access to safe spaces. Thank you.
And finally, Wee Jung-chi, representing Asia.
The Asian burning issues are ensuring economic empowerment through well-funded employment, housing, and community programs to help women after they leave shelters. Our country must give the women equal property rights, rights to inheritance, affordable housing for survivors of domestic violence, and guarantee the property rights of widows. Finally, there must be sufficient funding for shelters.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, ladies, this is a moment where Bandana will hand you the call to action. So, Bandana, here's your...
Thank you.
And I would like you to give...
Do it from here.
Yes, and then we'll have a press moment.
Thank you, please. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you. This is power, women together. Yeah, lovely. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rosa. You're welcome. And this is for me.
Please give it to Jacobine. Yes, we might need it.
Okay.
We might need it still, but you'll get your copy.
Of course.
I think it's time for you to stand in between the ladies and have a press moment there. Yes. Fatima, can you move in just a little bit? Can you move closer? Yes. Stay between the lines. Esther, you have it? Thank you very much.
Thank you. And if you would please be so kind to stand on the stage, but sit down.
Just stand here on the side, please.
Please remain, because
Yes.
you're so important. Also for the next formal moment, because we're not ready yet, I would like to invite the other chair of this conference, Femke Halsema, together with Secretary of State Martin van Rijn of the Health Department, on stage. And Femke, I leave it to you now.
Yes, let me just say a few words. Dear Minister, I think in Holland we are so fortunate to have a government that acknowledges the violence against women and children and wants to connect and act by financing shelters, raising awareness and supporting this conference. We sincerely thank you for giving us the opportunity to gather all those fantastic women here and a few men. Care workers, advocates, activists, stakeholders and survivors, 1,000 women from 115 countries. Still, the pain and suffering of so many women and their children is horrendous and sometimes unbearable. It is a national, a European and an international disgrace, a worldwide shame. As much strength and power is gathered here, we, women and women's organizations, we need strong and powerful counterparts in the outside world. Next year, the Netherlands chair the European Union. We know there is a full agenda: finance, economics, employment, international affairs. And the oppression and discrimination of women, the violence against women, is never high on the list. We proudly present together the call for action by the participants. This is what we believe and demand. And dear Minister, I call upon you to bring our call to the European Union and to place it high on the European agenda, to fight for us, for the rights and needs, for the freedom and dignity of women worldwide. Thank you.
And can I have photo moment? Can you please join in the middle again?
No, we're forgetting something.
Yes?
Yes, that's what you're forgetting.
Sorry, my fault.
Chaos.
Let me just
So let's
hand
try
it
to do
you.
this in a civilized
Thank you
way.
so much for supporting us and for coming here.
Yeah, photo. Yeah, sorry. Bandana, could you join them in the middle? And the ladies on both sides, please, for a picture. Thank you. Yes, of course. But Mr. Van Rijn will still make a speech. Let's just do the press
Wij
moment.
mogen in het midden.
Chaos, ladies and gentlemen. This is what you get.
In
let me be the director.
And you have to stand between the lines a little bit.
Yes.
We would like
Yes,
to color
come,
beyond
for
the
lights,
lines.
for the lights. Squeeze together. Nobody's biting here. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. More, more, more. All right. Got your pictures, people? Sorry, Karin. Smile, for goodness sakes.
Smile.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The representatives of the continents may now take their seats again. Thank you so very much.